We know it's going to happen to all of us. It's one of those facts of life. The price of admission we all eventually pay for the life we've had. For some, death will come suddenly, unannounced. But those with a terminal illness will know their time's running out, that they stand at the threshold of life before death.
The challenge really is you don't know when it's going to happen. People go to bed and don't wake up. Very fit, healthy people who jogs regularly and after a run just collapse. It can happen anytime.
If you look at the studies asking people who are palliative care patients who are facing life-threatening illness, one of the most important things that patients say is that they want to be able to be prepared, so that they know what to expect in the future.
We may have philosophical ideas and religious beliefs that tell us that, about what the afterlife might be like. No one really knows, right?
A lot of people mistakenly think that only when you're not feeling well, if you have an illness, a terminal illness, then you start thinking about death. But that's the furthest away from the truth. The only thing in life that's guaranteed is death. You cannot avoid it. And wishful thinking and everything else is not going to make it go away.
As certain as death is, it's still hard to predict how we will react to news that we're dying. Denial, anger, depression, disbelief, all common anticipated responses. But there are exceptional people who find the strength and spirit to make the time they have left a life-affirming experience for themselves and their loved ones by living out their months, weeks, and days with grace and purpose. Zoe Christian, Aziza Mohammed, and Patricia Ng are three such people. Complete strangers connected by circumstance. A terminal illness, cancer. Each has faced that life-defining moment when they were told they were dying. These are their stories. For as long as she can remember, Zoe Christian was a poster girl for good health. As a professional dancer, actor, and businesswoman, she's had a share of challenges, but nothing quite prepared her for the day she was told she had cancer. She was 42 years old.
I asked the doctor, I said, so how many in stage 4, with my case with an open wound, have done a miraculous cure? And doctor was so honest, and he said, look, I already told you there's no cure for your situation. It's just maintaining your life. And that was a hard blow because mentally, I'm going to live to the fullest for as long as I can, the best way I can. But hearing it from the doctor saying, there's no cure, it's like, whoa, okay.
The news came at a low point in her life. Already widowed once, her second marriage had recently ended in divorce. She returned to Singapore, leaving her 2 children behind in Australia.
I've always been so fit and agile. and my body is just great. It just bounces back. I never get sick. When you lose that, it's like, and I'm a dancer, so it's like I lost everything. I have 2 kids and my dogs and my cats, and yeah, I went down to like 0. I had 2 suitcases. Came to Singapore thinking I'll go back. And when you lose everything, you just really find you, because that's all that's left. And it's just shaky ground. You lose cash. It's almost like you lose your dignity.
But it was not in Zoe's nature to take her situation lying down. She was determined to face it on her own terms.
I'm not in denial. My way to see it is to see it through joy. This is the way it is. I can't change it. I can just do my best. So yeah, this is the only way I know how. And I think going back to things that I love, dancing and art and joy, and it's the way I want to go through it. Who am I to be angry with? There are those angry times, Don't get me wrong, I'm totally human. There are times that especially when I couldn't eat, or why can't I eat? Why can't I be like this person? Look at this person eating junk food. Look at that person smoking. I'm so good. Why did it happen to me? Not that other people are bad, but, So there are those moments, but I don't let those moments, I don't dwell on it. When I found out I had cancer, my strategy, doctor said to do the things that you love. And yoga, to me, was a form of my healing. So I joined a teacher's course, and that was just fabulous. I became stronger and stronger and stronger. I could feel it. But the cancer was getting stronger and stronger too. So we were both very, very strong. So for 6 months, I did the yoga teacher's course, and the students became my family. I learned so much about pranayama, meditation, and the essence of yoga. Yeah, so that has helped me know that the body can heal. I trust it. I don't regret going down that route at all. With the chemo now, with the yoga, I have very little side effects compared to my friends and stuff. Now watch these 2 groups of Tai Chi people on the hill. And I said, as soon as I have the strength to walk up that hill, it's quite, I can't even walk the whole house. I want to go and join them. I climbed up the steps one by one. And as soon as I had the guts to say, can I join? I said, do you speak English? And they welcomed me.
Cancer has also changed Zoe's outlook on life, a shift in perspective, an appreciation of the little things.
The illness forces you to slow down. I have no choice but to walk slowly, because look at my feet. It hurts. In walking slowly, you have no choice but to slow down in your thoughts, in you're a softer person, okay? If your son is getting 70% in Chinese, it's okay. He's happy, he's healthy, he's alive, I'm alive. Let's laugh and go and play, I think it is a good thing. It's making us look at the quality of our life, Are the things we're running around, rushing around, really what we really, really want? I just love Mandela's thing. The significance for me is just really getting stuff from the old. And it just slows down your pace and your worry and your stress in life. Going to art and doing something just for no reason but for beauty and for joy. And to go back to seek joy and beauty. And for me, that's what I want to focus on now. Yeah. And this particular one, every day if I feel like doing one, I will see what I feel like by the picture. And this one says Mandela 58 is a blossom of fire, and it holds back nothing from the blaze, a metaphor for living one's life to the fullest. And I thought, wow, how appropriate, I want to live my life to the fullest. Make the most of what I got on a daily, minute by minute basis, and live with joy. That's the best I can do. Yeah. When you're trying to be positive and you see something like the tumor growing, it's so hard to look away, but I just immerse myself in beauty and with positive people, and yeah, it helps me. But yeah, it's been tough 3 weeks. I'm just a coward when it comes to physical pain. And I've had, like you said, such a painless life, I remember the nurse, she wanted this catheter, the stitches came out. She said, it needs to be restitched. I said, no, next week, it's too painful, I'm too scared. And she convinced me. She said, well, you gave birth to 2 kids. I said I had 2 C-sections. And she said, oh boy. She said, what about menstrual cramps? I said, I never suffered a menstrual cramp in my life. So yeah, pain has always scared me, but so is facing my fear. But I don't feel I need to face that fear. If I don't focus on the fact that it hurts so much and put my focus on the other parts of my body, my hair is growing really nicely now and other parts that are functioning so well, it tends to take away. If I focus on the fear, I feel that grows bigger. I give power to it. The fears and stuff I'm trying to, push away and the negative thoughts of what radiation does to the rest of the body and stuff. And also my sister, Kim, whom I'm living with, she has just recently found out that she has breast cancer too in the right breast, and it's uncanny. We both look quite alike as well, and now we're going through the same thing in the same household. And seeing how brave she is and cheerful as well, it really spurs me on, When people ask her how she is, and she said, I'm really excited on my journey, it's going to be an exciting journey. And that's what it has been. Because you have no choice but to explore all avenues of how to pull yourself up, Now, I've had, 5 sessions of chemo that's worth 10,000, 11,000. And it's not from me, it comes from friends, relatives. So the silver lining is I really believe we're all cushioned and supported by the universe, by God, or whatever you want to call it. We just don't know it. And when you realize this truth, you live more freely, more bravely. You just go for your dreams and your desires. You have nothing to lose, So that's the silver lining. More and more I'm believing that I'm supported. When I start worrying about the money, or start worrying about, the pain, then I try and go back to that truth.
Zoe has held nothing back from her children, Beth, who's 20, and 12-year-old Max.
We speak very openly, and I've always treated them like adults, and they're very wise to the world. So it's, I think, a little harder on my son who's younger, who's 12. But I tell them that I'll probably be, it's nice because they're in Australia, and if it should happen while they're still young, I'm going to be closer to them than ever before because I don't have a body. I can just travel. I don't need to get on a jet plane and I'll just whisper in their ears. That's my belief system, so I try and share it with my kids. And yeah, it's hard because they hear, from conventional people and stuff of, sorrow and things like that. But I think it's in their heart and their soul. I've brought them up that way. So it's not now that I'm ill, we speak of it. And Beth's father passed away, that's my late husband. So death has been in the family. It's not something that is hidden. We speak about things openly.
She's even discussed the details of her eventual send-off with Beth.
There is such a thing as dying beautifully, and that's what my prayers are. You know, I don't want to go in pain or in desperation. I want to go enjoy. You know, my daughter knows. I said I want a funeral where everyone has a party. You know, it's beautiful music, great food, and I want a celebration of my life. Well, my name Zoe means life. It's a Greek name, and since I was a little girl, I've always taken it so seriously that I have to signify life. And so, yeah, I hope that that's what people remember me for, how alive I am, you know, rather than the girl with cancer, but the girl that had joy and spread her joy through dance and theater and my books or my dinner parties. Yeah, so definitely joy, you know, another 3-letter word like my name. Joy, life, yeah.
Aziza Mohammad's life revolves around her children, more so since she first became ill. Her journey began with the diagnosis of stage 2 breast cancer in 2002.
I was 29 and my girls, the eldest was in primary 3. And at that time she was the most affected. And until she said, "Mom, I don't want you to die. No, I still need you, you know." So I tell her that I know this illness, it will take my life one day. But all this is in God's hand, I said. So I'm fighting this illness. So you don't get affected on my illness. I always fight this illness, you know.
After 7 years, 10 cycles of chemotherapy, 2 of radiotherapy, and 3 relapses, she's still fighting. But the odds are against her.
Yeah, I know that stage 4, the percentage is very low. It's about 50 or 40% that can help me. But, well, all this, I just pray to God, you know.
Extra seluar dengan 2 extra baju.
Her motivation to stay alive and well is her daughters, Afika, 15, and Adira, 10.
Oh, dia dah lima. Clumsy. Why you so clumsy? Alamak. No, put back. Okay.
I'm so blessed to get so loving children, you know, where they also give me a lot of encouragement. Where sometimes when I'm down, they say, "Mom, please, don't think it, you know, just be happy," you know, and then sometimes they make jokes with me. And sometimes when I had a mood swing, I was sometimes little bit things I easily get angry, and they are so nice, you know, that they can stop me, you know. "Mom, Tai Chi, do some Tai Chi," you know, make jokes, make fun on it.
Aziza decided to make her children part of her journey. Having lost her own father suddenly, she didn't want to leave them unprepared.
Some people, they don't have a chance, you know. Like my dad, he passed away suddenly, which is, he never said anything, you see. Like, I miss him a lot, you see. Like, what I gone through, at least I had a blessing that at least I can share with my girls before the thing happened, you see.
By sharing her journey with her kids, Aziza believes she empowers them and brings them closer together as a family.
I always tell them that don't ever treat me just a mother, but treat me also like your friends, your best friends. So we share among us Whatever problem they have, they share to me, and whatever I had, I share to them. If I don't communicate with them, and they won't know, and end up there's a lot of question mark, and which is I left behind with a lot of sadness, even though it will, but if I let them know and I share with them everything what I gone through, at least in their mind that, oh, my mom is a survivor, She tried her best to fight.
Fighting for Aziza means not wearing a cancer on the outside.
For me, I'm very vain. I love to make up, put on makeup. So I believe that well-dressed, well-grooming really makes you doesn't look sick. So I used to do that, and just do a normal routine like what you do before. There's one lady when we was at the bus stop, asked my girl, what happened to your mom? Is it she met an accident? So my girl said, oh no, she had cancer. Oh really? They don't believe, they thought I met an accident because with the stick I'm carrying on. So my girl said, see mom, you are so strong, You're so great, even though you have this illness, people don't know that you had cancer.
By July 2008, Aziza Mohammad's life was in chaos. Stage 4 cancer, treatments, finances, caring for her children. She asked for help, and hospice nurse Amy Lim entered her life.
I had the benefit from hospice help. It's really a big appreciation, a bit thankful to them, because my life is changes. Before, my children and me had stressfulness, in life with my condition. But with the hospice help, our life changed. So it's like independent, What I gone through is like I'm being independent, but with the help of and support from the hospice.
Did she tell you? She told me, like, what are the questions?
Really.
Oh. Aziza came in as someone who is so gracious. She's so gracious to receive help. She doesn't resist help, and she was so open. I mean, being the first visit, being the first encounter, she was already so open to us. Yeah. So from that short 1 hour with her that day, you could actually gather a lot of information about her. Though background knowledge, family ties and all this, we couldn't gather much. But I knew I left this place rejoicing in the sense that I know Aziza is there to embrace help. And that would be so workable on, yeah. So I know that this is a very special patient that we cannot disappoint her, So on the first visit, we already assured her that, look, Aziza, housework is not a problem. We are going to get volunteers in to help you. So immediately she actually lighted up on that. Okay, great, there's volunteers. Yeah. Then I said, what are your other main concern and fear now? So she was saying her daughters, So we say, okay, then I'm going to arrange, is it all right if I arrange a more specialized, social worker to come in and talk to your girls?
Individual.
Oh, okay. The girls were counseled by professional counselors, okay, and they readily agreed, to have regular sessions, yeah, with this counselor. And of course, we are coming in, telling them, assuring the girls that, look, no doubt mommy is sick, but do not worry, okay? Much of the needs that you have, your needs, we will be here to help you along, to fulfill all the needs. Yeah. Then at the same time, we also want to prepare the girls mentally, emotionally for the worst.
The most that come in my mind is to be together with my children, to spend more time with them, and to teach them and guide them in whatever circumstances that they are going through when I'm not around, So it's like I'm preparing them, teaching them how to be like be strong, be positive, and take care of themselves. Always think of their future, The education is the most important things. I'm still alive, I do my best and I try my best to fight this illness without give up hope. With all the positive thinking, even though people say that, stage 4, just a few months or whatever, I said, yes, they can say that, but this is all God's will. So I will never give up hopes.
They were just kids when they met. Kok Song and Patricia. They courted, got married, had children, and life was good. But in July 2003, a visit to the doctor would bring sobering news.
Mr. Ng, your wife is in quite a serious condition. I think she's got some form of cancer. We will have to send the, a specimen for biopsy to confirm what sort of a cancer it is. And I said, how serious is it? He then put up his fingers and said, 3. So I thought he meant 3 years. I said, you mean 3 years? He says, no. I think if the treatment does not work, Patricia will probably have no more than 3 months to live. Well, next day the results came back and they confirmed that she had 4th stage cancer of the stomach lining. And that was when she broke down completely. It was like both of us were being struck by a thunderbolt. And we were somewhat in a state of a daze at that very moment. She was crying, she was sobbing, and I was doing my very best to comfort her.
I have always been afraid of dying. I mean, I know we all have to go someday, you can't live forever, but you always hope that it will be a long time from now, and probably I'll be like so old and dementia and everything that I won't be fully aware that I'm dying, I'll be like fading off in a dream. But now I'm still, well and vital and everything, and just the thought of going now is very scary, The fear of the unknown. The other thing, of course, is the sadness of leaving my loved ones. I would like to be with them as long as possible, and just the thought that the time with them is short it frightens me also. Yeah.
Well, I think her first reaction was one of panic. She was in a state of panic, and she was in a state of fear. And also in a state of disbelief, almost saying, why me?
That why me was to be the beginning of Patricia's journey.
And I remembered going to the hospital with her 2 days later and going through some further checkups because we were arranging for her to begin her chemotherapy treatment. And she saw a lot of people in the medical center, in the hospital, who were perhaps in similar condition. And then she said to me, she says, Kok Song, I am in this condition, but thank God that we've got good doctors, I can receive treatment, and thank God that we have the money, the funds to pay for the treatment. Can you imagine people who are poor and people who do not have loved ones to support them emotionally or financially? At that moment, I knew she was undergoing a transformation of her feelings. And I think later on that day, as we discussed this matter, she says, a few days ago, we were asking ourselves, why me or why us? Then she said, I think the right question to ask now is, why not me? What is so special about us? After all, we are human beings. It is part of the human condition. From that moment onwards, my hope and her focus was how would she live the rest of her life? How should she live her remaining span of days, weeks, or months? How do we live the rest of her life well? Because if we know that we are mortal, if we are mindful of our mortality, then we will live life more meaningfully, with a greater sense of priorities. And so, the moment we realized that time was short for Patricia, she was resolved to live life in the present moment, to treasure every moment that she had. And I too, immediately I felt at that moment that I want to spend as much of my time with her as possible in her remaining days.
Every moment I spend with my family, with Peter, is very precious. So, of course, but I don't pick on his mistakes as I used to, Well, I used to say, well, if I don't tell you, who else is going to tell you, right? But now I'll just keep it to myself. I say, well, he's only human. In his time, he will learn. And so I dote on him a little bit more than I used to.
Yes.
I express my love more. I'm more physical in my towards him. In Asian culture, you're not supposed to be outwardly affectionate, But I do it a lot more now, I can kiss him in public. I don't know why. I guess I want him to have good memories of me.
Patricia's initial fear of dying had blossomed into an infectious zest for life, the desire to seize each day.
There's an urgency to do a lot of things, and you do it, you don't keep it off. And then, I don't know, somehow everything becomes so special and precious, which I think would not have been the case if you know that you have infinity, all your life to do it, you're never going to die, and I think it's a bit boring, isn't it? There's no urgency, there's no hurry, and you'll be stuck in this rut and all that kind of things. So even though all my life I have been putting death behind at the back of my mind because I'm scared of it, I'm so surprised that having it in front of my eyes actually has made life more joyful.
And for Patricia, being in the present moment, was something as simple as wanting to go out for breakfast with me in the morning. We would go to a coffee shop in Tanjung Katong Road because she likes the kway teow soup in this particular stall. And she was telling me that sometimes when you are receiving chemotherapy treatment, you don't feel like eating anything. You feel nauseated. But somehow the kway teow soup was very agreeable with her tummy,
Patricia's faith in spirituality and the support of family and friends became her compass in the last months of her journey.
Sometimes when I'm at home with her early in the morning, I would hear her waking up, I would hear her moving next to me on the bed. And then she would raise her arms. Say, thank God for another day. So that was the sense of wanting to live in the present moment, to appreciate the simple but deeply meaningful things in life.
Surrender to God and complete trust in His love and His goodness and His plans for me, So I don't worry anymore, because worry is a very stressful and unnecessary waste of energy. So I focus now on living life fully, just appreciating the gift of life, taking each day as it comes, just happy that I'm alive this morning, and let's see how we do today.
In Patricia's case, I think her movement from panic to peace came about largely because I think she felt she was loved very intensely by the family, by the children, and by me as a husband, and also by her friends.
I can imagine how much more difficult it would have been if I didn't have the support of family love and community love, and that's really keeping my spirits up and really, putting me, keeping me sane.
Both Patricia and Kok Song were determined the time she had left would be a journey of dying well.
What does it mean for a person to die well? I think there are several dimensions to this. I think the first dimension is to ensure that, medically speaking, the dying person is well cared for, particularly in regard to pain relief, pain management.
Fear of pain, of course, because of the nature of my sickness. I don't really know how is it going to move, and I wouldn't like pain I wouldn't like the pain to come to a stage where it is unbearable.
Before we can address the spiritual pain and the emotional pain, we have most of all to address the physical pain. So I feel very strongly that the palliative care movement has so much to contribute to helping people to die well. And then she said to me, she says, Kok Song, it's not that I'm giving up, but I feel that the Spirit is calling me. So at that point, I knew that she too was aware that, she was coming close to her final moment.
From the time she was first diagnosed with terminal cancer, Ng Kok Song's fervent wish was that his wife Patricia would have a beautiful death.
So the family were at her bedside praying, and we are Catholics, so we're praying the rosary. And then she turned around to me before she lapsed into unconsciousness. She said, put me in your arms. She was lying on the bed, so I just went up, to where her pillow was, and I took away the pillow, and I rested her head on my thighs, and I was stroking her. And there she was, and after about 10 minutes or so, I think she, as a family was praying, she passed on. And it was only an hour later after she had passed on that I remembered what I said to Dr. Carmen Wong, that I wish for Patricia to complete her life beautifully.
After an extraordinary 19-month journey with family and friends, Patricia Ng drew her last breath on Valentine's Day, 2005.
And although she's been gone 4 years, the experience that we had 4 years ago remains very, very present. And I think for me as well as my children, there was no grief when Patricia passed away. There was, of course, the sadness, that she had passed on, but there was no grief. And there was no grief because I think we felt that we had the opportunity to show our love to her, to care for her. And she, I think, let us know that it meant a lot to her. It helped her greatly, in the last part of her journey. Caring for the dying person, you think, is helping the dying person. But I think it also helps the caregivers. So part of dying well is for the family and the caregivers. Just as we express so much joy in the birth of a child, we should do our best to enable a dying person to die well. In that way, approach it as a celebration of life. I think the way that a dying person dies can be their final gift to their loved ones. And I think it could be a gift to the world. Those 19 months between the diagnosis and the death was when we were able to take our love for each other to a deeper and more intense level. So it's paradoxical that in that 19 months of suffering, you might say, there was a lot of joy. And when I look back to that period of time, I could say, yes, all in all, we had known each other for 39 years. But those 19 months were truly the happiest time of our life together.